Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. Leaders, we gather information from many different places and many different people. If you hear yourself in our conversation together, just remember, it is not all about you. Now, today, we're going to look at something, quite frankly, that I got a big kick out of. I was asked the other day about this thing about leadership and charisma. And my good mentor told me that, John Maxwell, he said that charisma will get you through the door, but leadership will keep you there. So when I looked at leadership, leaders who had this great charismatic piece, I have to tell you, I too enjoy being around people who are charismatic. I do, because I believe that they bring something to the table that, well, others don't. Let's look at it, and then you make your own decision as to, is this something I need to be better at or learn at as a leader? You see, what we found very quickly is that charisma is a great quality for a leader. There's no doubt about it. And we found that in this case that everyone seemed to have or be in touch with their EQ, their emotional intelligence side of their world. We found that each of these great quality leaders had in touch with, they knew their body language. In other words, they knew the words and the emotions they were sending before they spoke. How they walked on the stage, how they presented themselves to shake hands, how the smile on their face, or the cut of their hair, or the suit they wore, or the tie. It was the body language that went with it that often sent the message before they got to speak. We understood that great people, great leaders have that ability to regulate their tonality of their speech. You've heard it and I've heard it, where when a leader gets passionate about what they're talking about or what their message are trying to give, sometimes they talk real quickly and they get excited and their voice goes up, and that's the part of a great speaker. And that charisma of being a great speaker is what people listen to, they get excited about, and they get involved with. Charisma. It's amazing things. They put together this next part. Not only the great speakers, able to create a pitch and a volume, but they're great listeners. They take the time to really listen when people speak. You'll find that people with great charisma take a lot of notes. They jot down things when they're speaking with someone, not just to placate or make the other person happy or think that they're listening, but they truly are involved. They're there in a moment with that person. That's a big difference between shining people on and answering their questions before they're done asking them. Big, big difference. People with charisma can regulate their emotions. By that I mean that when they're speaking, when they're with you, if they're really into it and you see them start to brighten up and stand tall, or that their passion is starting to just exude from their total self, from their stance to the words they use. I have watched great speakers do two things. One is when they get passionate, they speak quicker. And when they get really passionate, they speak slower and lower. the resonance of their voice brings across that passion to what they wish to share, that story, that knowledge. I've seen some great instructors who have that ability, and I had loved being in their classroom. I love watching them on TV. I like being in their presence. You see, these folks with great charisma always put people on ease. They make people feel special, because no matter how big the room is, the person really believes that they're only speaking to them on a personal level. Charismatic people, we've seen them in a lot of different places. Some have actually been given some negative things because they're too charismatic. I don't know what that means. I've seen some pastors who were very passionate about what they were speaking about, the message they were given. I've seen lawyers, I've seen doctors, I've seen politicians, and I've seen moms. You see, each of us have that ability, and each of us have a charismatic piece within us. It just comes out in us sometimes at different times and places, and it does change with our age and stage. But leaders, I believe this is something we can pass on to the leaders around us. This how to bring this piece of speaking and presenting so that people listen and gain knowledge and share the opportunity. The reason I've kind of gone into as far as is we found over and over in all the research we did, we found that charismatic leaders have a way of communicating a vision. They have a way of communicating the vision that is so powerful that people really want to be involved. They want to be part of it. They want to get inside and work with it and not work against. I have to tell you that it's always exciting for me to be in the presence of that person. Now, leaders need two things, of course. They need the vision and the ability to communicate it. You see, for them, it's not just a game. For leaders who have this ability, it's not just a game. It's not just something they do because I'm the leader, I'm the head guy, I'm the boss. That's not the reason. They truly believe in it so much that it's their passion to be able to share it and involve everyone around them in that vision. It's not something that's just on the top of the letterhead that they hand out, or on Sunday morning on the bulletin that no one ever reads and no one ever looks at, no one ever talks about. That's not what this charismatic leader is doing. You're going to find this leader is going to, they are going to, at every opportunity, repeat that vision and explain what it means in a way that you're going to want to jump on board, just like I do. They found that these folks speak clearly, carefully, concisely, and with a purpose. Leaders, if you can grab a hold of that, I'm going to read it again. If you want to be seen and heard, you want to have people have the law of the buy-in, you need to learn to speak clearly, carefully, concisely, and with a purpose. With that, it needs to have added to it A body language that sends the picture that you're all in. Not all in about anything other than the people you're speaking to. Wow. I loved how they went on to talk about it was more than just body language. It was really your attire, your eye contact. It was how you were meeting the group, the people, with your whole being. It wasn't just a bunch of words spilling out of someone's mouth in a diatribe that was just long and lonely. It had meaning, it had passion, it had power. And leaders, this is a learned technique. I'm not going to tell you any different. It is. There are many different classes and things that I went to that the people teaching them had never ever been out on the speaking public. They sat behind their classroom, they sat behind their podium, and they never really got out and learned how to do this. One of my good friends tells me practice makes perfect. And that practice means you're not going to get good at this unless you do it a lot. And leaders, this is one of those things we need to pass on to all those around us. This thing of being able to bring our whole peer person when we come to speak. How we stand, how we walk, the dress that we're going to put on to go into our attire. It's going to be all the above. I once had a great person tell me, Dick, it was all about the speechwriter. The speechwriter did that, and I could just do no wrong. And then they kept wondering why they were not moving ahead. And when I sat down with them and I said to them, you can't come and just read the speech. You can't just look down and read the speech and expect anyone to realize that you have a passion about it, that you even believe in it, or you're even all in. So, skilled, charismatic speakers, leaders, are skilled in the communication with the vision. They also respect and inspire. I have to tell you, this is one that I have always learned from an early age, that when you speak, if you're not inspiring, people don't listen. But communicating to the individual, the team, the organization, the two-way communication back and forth from one to the other. You see, this exudes the very best. When you have respect and you inspire people to have a two-way conversation, you respect what they have to say. You inspire them actually to comment. You inspire them to think. You inspire them to go farther than they thought they could. You inspire them to reach deep and come up with new ways, new ideas, and often new contacts and new relationships. Those things are all part of what a leader should inspire people to do. But they have to have the respect. You have to respect them. If you really, as a leader, wish to have respect, you have to respect the people that you want them to listen. It's a two-way street, this thing called respect. You see, if you don't respect them, they won't respect you. It goes to a lot of deep soul searching on this. I've seen many so-called leaders stand in front of groups who they didn't like, they didn't respect, they didn't anything. They were just there to lay down the rules. one-sided, that's not leadership. That's not. That's dictatorship. Another story for another time. Just understand that leaders with this kind of charisma respect themselves and respect others on such a highly level that things go smoothly on a give and take situation. Another quality of a highly charismatic person goes to this. It goes to the whole point of ongoing continuous learning. It was kind of funny how it actually went on this situation. People thought to me, this ongoing continuous learning, Dick, what's that really mean? Well, it means the books you read. It means the articles you write yourself. It means the going to hear different speakers, going to a conference, going to a somewhere else, having a mentor or a coach, or a mentor and a coach. This ongoing continuous learning is a piece that you need to constantly put in your way you're doing things, so that you, well, build yourself, but it also lets other people know, hey, they're doing it, I should do it. Hey, that's what a real leader does. Think about that. You see, the other thing is great charismatic leaders oftentimes will share their personal shortcomings, what they're not good at. And they'll share that with all those around them. But they'll also share their personal goals and the things that they're shooting for. It does a couple of things. When you do this with your body of people, it lets them know that, first of all, you are human and you're not a robot. It lets them know that you actually are not good at everything, and you actually need them around you to build whatever you're building. It also lets them know that you have some personal goals that you're shooting for yourself. And you're going to encourage them to have some personal goals of their own, not just in the corporation, but in their personal life. You see, it's a two-way street, no matter how you cut it. You need to think about other people other than yourself. Now, one of the things that great charismatic people, leaders do, they are always investigating. They're investigating their learning style and those around them's learning styles. Without knowing that, there's no way that they can ever be a great communicator. You see, those 7 different learning styles or habits that we all have, we just sometimes prefer one or the other at the top of that list. And as a speaker, you're going to need to really look at your audience and find out very quickly what those are. And can you speak to all of them? Charisma is the one true quality of great leaders. Again, charisma will get you through the door. Leadership will keep you there. That's why it has to go hand in hand. The charisma piece starts from you, from the inside out. Charisma is all not about a $500 suit or a fancy dress or even those high heels that have red soles. Now, I will say that those sometimes will be pretty flashy and get you through the door and actually make people stop and look. But charisma comes from the inside out. Charisma starts from your inner person. The outside trappings are a way to gather attention. But the real piece is how you stand, how you present yourself. Do you have confidence in your voice? Can you modulate at the right times? Can you really hold a conversation on a two-way street? When you're going to speaking and bring a new piece to your organization, understand that you need to set some time for some questions. It's not going to all be about you standing up there getting the applause. If it always turns on to all about you, I can tell you this much: your charisma level will fall very quickly, and those around you will stop listening. If you talk in a monotone voice, they'll be gone so fast that they'll be asleep before you know it. You must learn how to modulate your voice. You must learn how to actually control your body actions. I've seen people on stage, ladies who, use their hands quite a bit, but they put them in a place that they, is thought processing. Men, get your hands out of your pockets, for goodness sakes. Do something else. Get from behind the podium. That podium is just a place for you to park your notes. You don't have to be there the whole time. And by golly, know what your information is that you're going to lay down, that you're not going to read word for word. It's okay to take and make a look down and get an exact piece, especially if it's an important quote. But it's not there for you to take and read word for word. Long time ago, I was in charge of a lot of instructors, and as they came in, I noticed that the old-time instructors would stand in front of the group with their notebook, and they would read page after page, and I'd watch people fall asleep. And so as we started to look into this and really help instructors learn to be instructors, you need to know your information, and you need to be passionate about what you're going to take and provide. If you can't do that, find someone who can. I do believe all of us can learn how to use our charisma, what gets us through the door, in a positive light to bring forth information and pass knowledge from one to the other in a positive manner. But I do encourage you to really spend some time and effort in putting into this opportunity. This thing of body language is super important. How you hold your hands, where you do with your fingers, it's how you will really present yourself. The tonality of your voice. Yes, it is true that the lower the timbre, in other words, the lower of your voice, people do have a better listening opportunity to it. But you can train your voice. Those of us who have been in the speaking game for a long time know that's for a fact. When I still go and hang around my people that I grew up with, I start talking like this and I get really cool, and I like it. It's fun. But I also understood that people find that very irritating and hard to listen to depending on the audience that you're in. So tonality of voice. Learn to be a great listener. Okay? If you're in an audience and someone's speaking a question to you, I'm going to encourage you to either you write it down as they say it, or someone close to you does, so you can refer back to it. If one person has asked that question, I guarantee there's more than one out there that had the same question. Might be something you need to build into your knowledge base to answer the question before it's asked. There again, I believe when I've written down those questions, when people have asked them to me, it really showed them that I was listening to them. Even though there was 200 or 300 people in the room, I was focused on them. You see, making each person feel important, making each person feel that you're speaking to them alone. That's the part of being a charismatic speaker, leader. This whole thing of putting people at ease and making them feel special. I used to love to listen to Zig Ziglar, how he would make everyone in the audience come alive. And everyone really believed he was only speaking to them and it was all about them. He did it in a way that it was just exciting to be in the audience and to learn from the master. Realize that charismatic speakers, leaders, always have two things going in the world. They have the vision and they have the ability to communicate it in a way that's exciting, that it's full of energy, that it has places for each and every person in the audience listening, and they're in 100%. They're all in. That they believe in what they're saying, that the passion is exuding from their voice, from the way they're standing, from their hand actions. And when you see them, you know for a fact that this is a true person. It's in deep. It's not just something they put on. It's not like an overcoat they slap on and they come out and give you the speech. It's really from the inside out. That is the mark of a great leader who has charisma. When they understand, the people understand that you are taking the time to go to different seminars yourself, to read different books yourself, to stay on top of what's going on in all your careers and things that are happening in your organization themselves. That they have learned, you have learned how to really build together this time of work and play. Again, for some of us, that's one and the same. But it's the piece of being a great leader and a communicator to be able to put that on that piece, on that same level, so they can see, hey, I can do this too. That's a good thing. If they share their personal, faults or their personal shortcomings, it's because they want you to know they're truly human and how you fit into their world. And this thing of always investigating their strengths and their weaknesses, they're always looking at how they can do better and where they can do better. And then telling you that. Being real, being honest. This is the thing that sets apart all charismatic, all leaders, all speakers. What sets the ones apart from the great ones are real. Sometimes they stumble. Sometimes they screw up a word. Sometimes they get flustered. Sometimes they get so excited they talk too fast. Their hands go up and they just can't withstand themselves. But you know what? That's human. And it certainly is a good thing in today's world to take and see other people that are human and they're leaders and they have a charismatic way of putting things across. Now, I see our time is coming short. That always is. On behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, I want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. Our hope is that you've received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you become a better leader. Now, if you have any questions or comments on today's program, don't hesitate. Go ahead and give me a call, 727-422-1833. Send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. Go to the website, spend some time, look around, send me a message from there. Go to www.ewfw.org. When you're ready for us to come and put on a seminar about leadership and accountability, don't hesitate. Give us a call. Do it quick. We book up fast. 727-422-1833. You know what? When you know it's a fact. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to spend some time today with the things you've learned, and I want you to put them in place. And then I want you to send me an email or give me a call and tell me how you're working. Until next time, DW the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.